Let's take a summary view of the Inca religion. We're going to begin by looking at the geography for the Inca, which is going to make a huge difference in terms of their beliefs. The Andes, the home of the Inca, are going to provide an incredibly challenging environment, and it's going to end up framing the Andean worldview. It's also going to connect everyone very strongly with the natural world and at the same time with each other. The Inca and the people before them in the Andes will live in a place that has three very strikingly different geographic zones. That's going to include the jungle, the mountains, and the desert. If you take a look at my map over here, you're going to be able to see the green area represents the Amazon and the jungle. The dark brown area tends to represent the mountains, the Great Peaks of the Andes, and then right next to it along the Pacific coast is a region that is incredibly dry and very desert-like. If you look at the slide image, the picture upper right, you're going to see a view of that desert coast. If you look below at the bottom, you're going to see the rich peaks of the Andes, which are snow-capped. Okay, what this provides us with is a system that is a vertical economy. It's often referred to as verticality because as you go straight up, and as you go up, you go through different altitudes. You encounter different places that can grow different things and produce different things, that have access to different things. This promotes interdependence because I will have something that you don't have. You're going to have something that I don't have because we cannot all produce the same products in our different zones. This is going to promote a sense of reciprocity, being essentially dependent on each other. I will give you something if in return you will give me something as well, which also creates a sense of connection or collectivity, being collected into a whole. The regions of the Andes are also going to promote a strong sense of duality, and the reason for that is there is such a sharp division in terms of the geography that you have a very strong sense of differences. The highlands, for example, the mountains, will in fact be the origin place for water for the coastal desert. If you're taking a look at my photo of the snow-capped Andes, those snows will melt in the springtime and it will be runoff from the mountains that will provide water to sustain the coastal desert and provide life there. This very strong awareness of contrasting regions adds to a sense of duality in the Andes and in the belief system of the folks who live there. Let's take a look at some of the Inca gods and goddesses. What we'll discover is that human beings and the rituals they perform are very, very closely linked with nature and the cosmos. The gods and goddesses are drawn, in fact, from the natural forces surrounding the people of the Andes. And these natural forces, to control them, to influence them, are needed for survival. We're going to see that many of the gods and goddesses are associated with agriculture, sometimes with astronomical cycles, and that all of this is represented in the festivals that are celebrated to honor these gods and goddesses. The ones I want to look at would be at the very top, the great creator god, the most powerful of all the gods. His name is Viracocha. I do have an image of the way in which Viracocha can appear in the Andes in the top right. I also have on the lower right hand side an image of what's left of the Coricancha, the great Inca temple to the gods, in particular to Viracocha, located in Cusco in the highlands. Coricancha means golden temple or enclosure, because once upon a time it was literally covered in gold and would have been truly spectacular. It was dedicated to the gods, and that includes specifically the great creator god Viracocha. We were also going to take a look at Inti, god of the sun, at Pachamama, who is the earth goddess, and Mama Kia, who is the moon goddess, and specifically at the Wakas, which are so important. This is Inti, at least a couple representations of Inti. Inti is the god of the sun, and for the Inca, just as it had been true for the Aztecs, and also for in Japan, the Shinto emperors, the Inca tend to link their rulers to the sun, and it is by this connection to the sun, in fact, that the Inca claim their right to rule. The image on the left is pre-Inca, but it is traditional Andean depiction of the sun, which was always an important deity in the Andes. And then the one on the right is a 17th century. This is after contact, a manuscript that is depicting one of the Inca emperors in the process of worshiping the sun. Okay, Inti was considered to be the son of Viracocha and Mama Cocha. She was the goddess of the sea. Inti is the sun god, the sun god. So he's going to give us light. He's going to give us warmth, and he's going to be really, really consequently important to agriculture and to farming. It is also through Inti that the Sapa Inca, and that is the ruling Inca, the emperor or the king, whatever you want to call him, is going to claim his right to rule. The Sapa Inca, it was believed, was descended directly from the sun god. Okay, now when we use the word Inca in general, it means the royals, the way we would talk about the royal family in Great Britain today. It also refers to Inca nobility, to the ruling class, or the large expanding Inca family. If we talk about the Inca ruler, then we have to say Sapa Inca. And it was the Sapa Inca who claimed his right to rule through his connection to the sun. There is also the moon goddess, Mama Kia. The moon is the sister of Inti. In other words, moon and sun are sister brothers. There is an Andean expression that goes like this: the sweat of the sun and the tears of the moon. The Inca, and almost certainly the people before them, believed that the gold was actually produced by the sun sweating. So it's a byproduct of the sun, a little bit like the Aztecs believe also that the sun produces excrement that is in the form of gold. For the Inca, then, also the gold that they had was a religious material. It was not thought of as something that had monetary value. It was conceived of in religious terms. In contrast, silver was considered to be made by the moon when the moon cried. So what we have here is a very strong duality between brother and sister, moon and sun, the sweat of the sun and the tears of the moon going together to produce these very precious substances. One of the most important of the divine beings, and a divinity that is still worshipped in the Andes today, is Pachamama, or Mama Pacha. She is Mother Earth, and what we're looking at on the screen right now, upper right, is a pretty amazing vessel that was crafted in the period of the Inca. And what it does is explain the importance of Mama Pacha, or Mother Earth, and also it tells us specifically how we have to worship her. This is a depiction in ceramic form of a plow, an Andean plow. That's what you're looking at right here. You can see a real one in the middle of the bottom. This Andean plow is attached to a ceramic vessel, and in that vessel, back in the day of the Inca, you would fill it up with corn beer or chicha. That would be made as an offering to Mother Earth, and this vessel itself had a little hole at the peak, and you would insert it into the earth just as you would insert a plow, so that it would break through the surface of the earth. You would pour in your offering, and it would go to Mother Earth, and in return, you hope that Mother Earth would give you a plentiful crop of corn. So, located right here, we have a little ear of corn, so that we have essentially the entire growing cycle, the offering that is made to Mother Earth, and then in turn, what she gives us back that we can then take and turn into more corn beer. This is pretty strong evidence that we're dealing with a maintenance faith. The two images located on the left, the one over here in silver and the one here carved out of stone, both of those actually are created by the Inca, and both of them depict maize. Maize, or corn, is a food staple in the Andes. It's also a sacred plant, and it was conceived of in rituals for propagation. In other words, for helping to ensure the cycles in the future of continuation. Mother Earth remains incredibly important in the Andes today, just as she was in the past, and it was often in the past necessary, as it is today, to give offerings to Mother Earth. It could be corn beer, or it could be something else. Over here in the lower right-hand corner of my slide, you're going to find a canopa. It's a tiny object. It could fit in the palm of my hand. It's a small carved image. These can be alpacas, these can be llamas, and they can be filled with offerings. These offerings often will include fat, animal fat. They might also include the leaves of the coca plant, but then they would be buried in the fields, and they would nourish Mother Earth, and in return you would hope that Mother Earth would give you abundance in your harvest. It is now time to say something particular about the huacas. Huacas are everywhere in Peru, and you can find them still today. They're an important part of the belief system of the local people. And they're important because they reveal the very close connection between the Inca and the natural world. Okay, what is a huaca? A huaca is anything that is sacred, that is special or unique. These things that are unique kind of allow us to connect between this world and the spirit world. They become a kind of portal, a kind of passageway. They could be things like special looking stones, waterfalls, mountains. They can also be mummies, among other things. They're objects that somehow have supernatural power or energy, and they are out of the ordinary. If you know Shinto and the shrines in Shinto, that are places where the kami, the gods or the spirits, reside in nature. Huacas in South America function very, very much in similar ways. It is a place of duality, because it's a place where we mingle physical and spiritual, and the two of them can go together. A huaca is also a place with spiritual energy, where you could connect with spiritual energy and contact the spiritual realm. There were often priests, and there still are today, who might speak for huacas, translating the intentions of the huacas. Okay. The mountain image on the bottom, which is from, again, the Andes, the Great Peaks of the Andes, it's a huaca. The sacred peaks of the Andes were considered sacred, divine. They were considered the home of the gods. And I'd like you to remember that in the New World, there is a pretty commonly shared belief system of a tiered world. The realm of the heavens up above, our realm, and then an underworld. That was shared by the Inca as well. The mountains, of course, are going to be the realm of the heavens, the realm of the sky. They're also the home of the gods, and they were considered to be gods themselves. Why are they so sacred other than their great size and their plunging to the skies? It's because that's where the water comes from. The snows will melt, and when the snows melt, they're going to provide water for the people, particularly the people of the coast. The slide on the lower right actually depicts a sacred rock. It is Waka. It had a shape that suggested to the Inca that it could be carved to echo the shape of the great mountain peak behind it. It was special. It has energy. It has power. It is Waka.